called she could be nicer, couldn't she? That lady. Okay, so being recorded, but not you, it's me, and I'm just going to post it onto so I can put it onto the program stuff. Right, okay, so I've explained who I am for anybody new coming in, and examples of, why, of how caring about what people think is actually more about what we think. But what I want to do is go back. So you have a bit of an idea of why it's impact. Do you all have an idea about why I care so much about it? What it can stop us doing, and then why? I mean, I literally walk out in my yoga pants without makeup on, barely. Like, God knows why I walk out the way I do sometimes, completely like oblivious to the world. I have my top down, not my. Well, I don't care anyway. I have the top down in my car. If you've met me, you wouldn't believe how self-conscious and how utterly crippled by people I used to be. I mean, you would never know now. And that's why, because I want people to be able to, and now I think, oh gosh, I shouldn't put that song on. Fuck it, just whack it up and let us sing and dance. And I do genuinely think, no, I'm not, it doesn't matter. And actually, like, my kids now put the windows down so they can say hi to everybody to make them smile. And I felt, oh, we can't do that. Oh, why not? It's a case you think, oh my goodness, you're so kind of so yeah. So when we actually have the freedom just to entirely be, it really is freeing, and it's really powerful. But there's a few things we need to do first. So if you can get Jiggy on the chat, it would be really helpful. Just you don't have to give anything personal. So Phil's trying to get in. So just some of you have met Phil, some of you haven't. There you go, click that. Phil also, I think, was trying last week's one. Click this link. Okay, cool. Luckily I don't. You see, and also, yeah, so it enabled me to be able to do this, for instance, think if one person turns up, that's enough. Whereas before I'd have been like, oh, what if everyone doesn't like me and thinks I'm terrible and won't turn up because they don't believe me? It really does change everything. So first of all, before we go any further, every time I do anything, it's about set an intention. So you can share it, you don't have to share it, but by the time this is finished, or by tomorrow, you're here because maybe you think too much, or you worry too much about what people think or a person thinks, or you don't do something. What would you like to be different? So you can either write it down for yourself, will be quite handy, so that you can tell if it's worked. It's always good to be able to test your work, isn't it? So if you can, do you want to show your camera, Emily, or not really? Chrissy, not really. That's fine if you don't want to. That's cool. So by this time tomorrow, how would you like things to change? What would you like to be able to do? That'd be really great. If you want to share it, that'd be amazing, but I get it if you don't. Share as much as you feel comfortable with sharing, because the more information I have, the better, which is really cool. But I don't like picking on people. Phone battery dead. He's trying. Okay, thanks, Phil. Give me an up to date on what's going on. That's cool. Okay, and what do you think? What do you think will be different? So okay, you want to be more confident. Okay, so what do you think would be different? What do you think has to change, and how do you think you're going to feel when that change has happened? When you can do that thing, or you can talk to that person, you'll be able to visit around without worrying about judgment she's making. Yeah, okay, so she's being, yeah, okay, you'd be able to stand up for myself, yeah, more confident and talking to people. So you'd be able to go to this person's space and just be yourself without any, yeah, so you'd be able to do whatever you want to do without any kind of recourse or any like, oh, okay, protect, barrier, wall, okay, yeah, absolutely, okay. So when you see other people and it looks like they don't care, what does that look like? So we think, oh God, I wish you could. Do you ever look like, oh, I wish I could just be like that. I wish I could just do that. And what do you think they've got that you don't? If that's the thing, that might trigger you, and that might be like, if it's an don't worry, there'll be more questions. But so do you think they've got something that you haven't got? Do you think there's a magic kind of personality trait that they've got? Do you think that they like take something in the morning, like legal and all that? I don't know. Do you think they take something? I don't know, to make them just not care? Because it's really funny. Last week, the relationship detox thing kind of sang to a lot of people. This is kind of, I really get it, or no, it was a real kind of not bothered at all what people think. Why would I even care? And other people are like, oh my God, yeah. So what have they got? You like to be able to stand up? Yeah, okay. Hi, Phil. We have started. You can catch the replay. We're recording this, Phil, but I'm not recording you. Okay, you're here. You're awesome. So I've just explained. So I explained a bit about, quickly recap about who I am. So we all know that now, and why it's important to not. Why it's important for me to be able to teach why people don't give a shit about what people think, because so you can be more and do more. But I've asked the question, what would you like, the intention you'd like, so what would you like to achieve? What do you want? So if this works, how are you going to know if what I've taught you has actually been any use whatsoever? How are you going to know that it's different? Okay, and what would you like to be able to do? And the last question I asked was, what does it look like? What's the magic potion that other people have got that you don't have, who don't give a damn, who just walk along? And do you really think that's true, or do you think everyone's blagging it? Because I was convinced that everyone was faking it, that everyone was a liar, and that the whole world was as worried about me, what everybody thought, and that they were all just they were lying about how confident they were. That's genuinely what I thought, and that's how I got myself to sleep at night. So because I thought, no, they're all just blagging. The world is a blagger, and that's fine. I was also an ex-car salesman, so you can see why I thought the world was a blagger. So I was a good car salesman. I was a nice one, though, so don't get worried. Okay. So to feel like that, how does that? Can you imagine yourself? Can you visualize? I'll use one of these ones here. I can see it. Okay. Yeah, so it does. Yeah, like they just let things go, don't they? They don't hold on to. They don't make it mean anything, and that's the key there. So, can you now imagine going into that space, going into a space, and actually thinking, can you imagine being that? Think, and how would that feel to go into that, that with that person or that space or that environment, and just not care, and not care, but not care what what it is about you that's going to ruin it, or oh my goodness, what they're thinking. What would that feel like, just to be in that space and just not care? How would it feel? Freedom, I won't let you down, freedom. I'm an incredibly good singer. I don't want to put everyone to shame, so I won't sing. Freedom, yeah. I mean, that's one of my words that I absolutely love, is freedom from self-judgment. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so is everyone, so freedom. So would it be, so you'd be able to actually do it. You wouldn't actually have to keep thinking, rather than going over and over thinking, oh, can I go there? Because if they go there, and if they then say something, then I've got to plan my reaction. But what if they say that? What if they're nice to me? How am I going to cope with that? And all of a sudden, you're now basing everything you do on a possible outcome from what someone else might do. And it's absolutely, if nothing else, it's absolutely exhausting, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So, another big thing, which I go into more in the I'm not talking about it thing that we're doing 6 weeks. I'm not going to go on about it, but is this might or might not be comfortable to know it, but when we stop ourselves doing something, there's a big thing, and people who are coaches are going to know the word secondary gain. You're going to know what that is if you're a coach, okay? And there's always a reason to hold on to icky stuff. Always. There is always a safety element to it. There is, well, hang on, if I don't. So I want you to just see what would happen, what would be wrong, what could go wrong, what is the reason to hold on to this? Because something's got to be let go. So what would be the upshot of actually still being a little bit self-conscious and still feeling self-judged? What would happen if you didn't feel those things? Because freedom is wonderful, but it's also quite, do you trust yourself to just be free from judgment? Is that not like, wait, will you just go out and run naked in the street if you didn't care anymore? Are you capable of such madness? Because that that is a real, well, hang on, if I'm confident enough to do that, you've done that. Lovely, Phil. I hope there's pictures. I think. Cool. Well, so there's so many facets to, because when we worry about what others think, it is only our own projection, because something can't exist in somebody else. We can't see it in somebody else if we don't see it in ourselves. If we don't know it exists, I mean, if you don't know it exists, you can't see it. But if you know it exists, then you can. So the only way that somebody else could be thinking badly of you is if you think badly of you. You know, if you walk into a room and go, oh, they're all talking about me. Now they could only all be talking about you if that's what you're putting onto the situation. And they might be talking about you, but they might be talking about your birthday party. So this is really, it's gaining back the control and understanding that all of this, all of the worrying about opinions is all this judgment you have on yourself, and figuring out why. So I'm not going to do massive amounts of tapping because I have a feeling people might get quite, ooh. So in order to sort of really tune into something, you see that little bit there, that just kind of brings on a bit of emotion. So just tap there for me. And if anybody starts going and needs more help, don't worry, we can, maybe you'll think you'll lose the people. Yeah, if you stop worrying about how they feel. Well, so yeah, okay. So you think that actually, does it make you a bad person? Are you going to become one of these like up your own arse? All right, I'm so amazing. Fuck you. Are you going to become one of them? You know, are you just going to become this self-righteous, over the top? You think everyone's going to think you love yourself? Maybe they will, and maybe they'll go, "Oh, she loves herself. How cool is that?" But it's so if you tap here and just think, okay, so what? When you're sort of when you can visualize yourself not caring, what's not right about that? What is really wrong with that picture? What does that make you? Does that make you somebody bad? So if you actually we'll talk about the how you get there in a minute, but if you actually you go out with confidence, head held high, in no clothes, film, if that's necessary, you know, you go out there, you go into that space with these toxic kind of people on, and you are just yourself, and you are utter just, yeah, what's wrong with that? What does that, what, you know, what bad thing could happen because of that? What could, you know, who could get hurt? Could someone get hurt? Could you hurt somebody if you're that if you're, just make sure people are still trying to come in. Could, okay, cool. Right. Could someone get hurt? And it can get quite kind of, you know, because because generally, if you care what people think, you're a very, very empathic person. If you care that much what people think, a lot of it can be do with, okay, I've hurt people before because of my behavior. Where does it go to? Is it, you know, actually, yeah, when I was younger, for me personally, I used to hurt people all the time because of I refused to eat. So every time I didn't eat something, somebody would cry. So then I go, oh my God, I'm gonna make someone cry if I don't eat food. Oh no. And so all of a sudden food became much of a, oh, okay. So if I do eat that, and food became this kind of, oh my God, I'll please. And then it was like, well, hang on. So I'll just not agree to do that, but then I'm going to hurt their feelings. And it became this huge, oh my goodness, I'm really going to hurt people if I'm myself. And then it became, oh my God, if I'm being myself, people are going to get hurt. So if I just become a bit more, I know, if everyone just likes me, if I'm really changeable and I'm a chameleon, everywhere I go, people just like me, that's great, because I can't hurt anyone and everyone's happy, and I'm not going to challenge anyone, I'm not going to trigger anyone, and it's all going to be fine. And then I go home and just weep that no one liked me for who I was. And you're like, well, hang on, I've not shown anybody who I am. And so this is the trouble. You can become so likable that you don't even know who you are anymore. And so one of the biggest things I lent into was, I want people to not like me. I genuinely want, I didn't go out there to like, go, prod people and go, you're an idiot and run away and stuff. I wouldn't do that. But I would genuinely encourage. And the more people now that don't particularly like me, I think, oh, I'm massively authentic then. And it was that was the, oh, so if I have the courage to go out there with knowing that by being me, less people will like me, and it made me so happy. And I can't tell you how much happier I became when people started being triggered by me. And I was like, right, okay, that's great. So by me doing this, it actually does trigger something in them, but that's theirs. And I was like, right, so my hatred of my judgment is mine, and it goes back to a control thing, and theirs, they're being triggered by me, is theirs. And if they're getting angry at me, it's just a power struggle. It's just a power struggle. So when someone invites me into a power struggle, and it's then the minute someone starts going, yeah, I don't like what you do there, I think you're an idiot. Or they go, we have a political disagreement, or a disagreement about raising children, or a disagreement about, I don't know, the weight of wallpaper, whatever it might be, you have a disagreement about it. That's kind of almost irrelevant. That's not when someone wants to disagree with you in a way that isn't like, oh, how about we try this? If it's not like that, they're saying, I think you're doing it wrong. All of a sudden you think, okay. And when you see that, that's the power struggle beginning. And then it becomes nothing to do with the thing that you're talking about. It's nothing to do with the wallpapering or the driving, or why are you driving like that? I could just do it better. The best thing you can do is go, okay, you're right. Okay. And you literally step down from the invitation to get into a power struggle. Because the only way a power struggle can end is if somebody wins. Now, if someone's invited you to a power struggle and you happen to know more about the politics, or you happen to have an answer for everything, which I'm not saying I do, but I have been known to have an answer for everything, whether it's right or not. I used to happily go, yeah, bring it on. Let's do this. Because I was like that. I used to quite like being challenged, and have a and absolutely, and I would attract people who wanted the struggle. It's exhausting, but even if it's quite nonchalant, even if it's just people want to win, and even if you don't step up to it, you go, oh yeah, you're right, oh yeah, silly me. And then all right, they've won that. And that's the aim, is to win the power. And it may seem really nuts, but that's what happens when people are trying to trigger you. Now, if you win, so say they've invited you to say, yeah, your wallpapering is just crap, you really shouldn't do it. It's different saying that's what happens to the brother. Yeah. So it's different to say, do you know what? Yeah, why don't you do it? You know what you're doing. And to step down gracefully than being stepped down in, oh my goodness, I'm so scared of what they're going to say. I don't want to make any waves. If you just step down from the fight without like withdrawing in sort of fear, step down gracefully, that's great. They might want to try again. So you just don't, and you make a choice not to step into it. Because it's either the power struggle means that they win and you feel like shit, and then you're in this gibbering wreck and think, oh, I hate this, it ruins my life, or you win and they'll somehow try to exact their revenge. And that may sound really kind of ha-ha, but it's the same as if you think about it with kids. They very rarely win, so they'll bring it to the parent. The parent will go, I don't think so, quash it. And so they go, all right then, and they'll go and like, color in your sofa red. Just putting it out that might happen in a revenge situation earlier this week. So no, I don't know anything about that. So and in a kid situation, that's what they do. But the reason people keep doing revenge is they haven't dealt with their shit, so they're still behaving like children. And that's not an insult, that's just what we all do. Whenever we haven't dealt with something, we just go straight back to that point and behave exactly how we did in the first time it happened. And yeah, we keep reliving our story, basically. So we either step down or we win. So the best thing to do when you're being brought up to this power struggle is go, okay. Someone says, so okay, if you're Yeah, so if someone, yeah, you don't. So if you're worried about going to see your aunt Julie and being there, what did you say there? I'm just trying to go back now. So she's making digs. Yeah, you literally, she's making digs, and the way to think about making digs, go, God, I wonder what's going on for her. I wonder what's happening with her. And not out loud, but and go, all right, yeah. And you think, oh, the whole time you're thinking, crikey. If you presume that what they're saying to you is actually what they could wish they could say to themselves, then the whole thing is a lot clearer. So everything they're projecting is just that. And if you look, you think, oh my God, they do hate themselves. Do you know what they are? They are literally, they hate themselves so much, they have to project onto me. And if you view it, if you start viewing other people's meanness and bullying and yeah. Yeah. So, but how does it make you feel to be the quiet one? Do you feel then really, is it a bad feeling? Yeah. Okay. So he's dominating the conversation. Okay. So makes you feel really small. Okay. So what you're doing there, and this is not, I'm not saying it's a purposeful thing or easy, but you're handing over your emotional state. You're just giving it away, since you know what, I'm completely at your mercy here. So what you could do is say, do you know what, I'm going to go and make the choice. I know what's going to happen in that room, so I don't particularly, I know my opinion won't be heard, but my opinion's valid, so I'm just going to sit in the corner. I'm going to sit down and do my own thing and take a book. You know, no one's going to listen to you, so take a book, write something, draw something, you know, get the power back, because you don't have to get the power by being louder and cleverer. And you get the power sometimes by being utterly silent, but silent in a way that is your choice rather than what you've been forced to do. So I'm going to come and sit in the corner, but I'm going to do it my way. Because if you know, unless you want to have that fight, in which case, you know, I mean, get genned up and go in there and have the fight. But the likelihood is, if that's not who you are, then it's going to end up, you're going to feel even worse. So go into it with a different head and go, I'm going to make my choice. I'm going to go into this room knowing that they're going to dominate everything. I don't want to be part of it. So rather than saying they're not letting me, well, actually, you don't want to be, do you? Do you want to be part of that crazy ass conversation where there's everyone shouting and loud? Sounds exhausting. So you say, right, I'm going to make the choice. I'm going to sit where I want, because they'll all stand up and be loud and be tall and be big and you know, do their masterful thing and be all big, and I'm going to sit there quite happily. But I take, everywhere I go now, I take a pad and pen, just because if I can see a situation happening, and if nothing else, I'm just writing down how I'm feeling and just putting it down. I think, oh, I need to work on that. But no one else knows what I'm writing. I say, well, I'm writing a book. And then all of a sudden people will ask you, oh, what's that? I'm writing a book on how families interact in times of trauma. What? They're just like, what? Or I'm writing, I think that I'll be the next A.A. Milne. So I'm using you as Pooh and him as Piglet. I don't know, anything. Like, you know, all of it, just say anything. I mean, you don't even have to say anything. So, oh yeah, just writing down. Oh, what's that you're writing? So, I mean, you might get that. So then you go, do you want to know? Okay, cool. Well, you know, oh, I'm drawing. And if people want to bring you up, say, yeah, what do you think of it? Oh, it's crap. Wow. Do you want to try? You know, say, you know, if people bring it to you, fine, you know, but have utter, you know, oh, it's crap. Oh, do you think so? Who gives a fuck if it's crap? My stick drawings, I tell you what, I put my stick drawings out everywhere. You know, and how do you see my stick drawings, Alex? My terrible stick drawings of how to do a downward dog. I mean, it's quite awful, in all honesty. And yet I love my stick drawings because they're inherently mine and I love them with all the passion. But I think when you go in, so yeah, what they will do is they will be challenged by you sitting in the corner with such ease and happiness. Oh, what you reading that for? Oh, it's widening my knowledge. Yeah, do you want, I'll tell you what, if you'd like to lend it, I'm reading it now, you can absolutely borrow it later, but stay within your power. And if somebody wants to take that away, you now need to know that it's yours to give. So if you then say, oh, right, yeah, you're literally saying, there you go, insult me, make me feel small again. And you are literally, and I'm not saying it's easy, I'm just saying, I'm letting you know that it's yours to give, not theirs to take. But if you give it willingly, it's, you know, it's easier to own it and say, right, this is mine, I'm choosing to sit here. Or you could just say, well, I know that I don't really want to have this conversation, so I'm just going to sit here. You could be entirely honest. You can make a joke of it, but sit there knowing that you're doing exactly what you want to do, because you don't want to get involved in all the crazy. And if people want to come into your space, they have to be invited. It was did I talk about like the stage last time, didn't I? I think I probably did, because it's a really, I think it's a great analogy someone taught me, was that you are like the master of your own play. So you are there in the middle and it's your show and you are the leading star, because if anyone else is, we need to have a real discussion about where you are on your stage if you're not even your own, like your main part in your stage. Now everyone you know is in the wings, and some people can walk on and walk off. I won't, okay, and you can invite people on and invite people off. So you can invite people into your space, and you can then say, "Oh right, yeah, no, you've been cut out. Sorry, ciao." Or people can be in the audience, they're just watching. But the same goes for other people's plays, or sometimes circuses is what, you know, more like, it feels more like it's a circus. And they can invite you on, and you can decline. You don't have to go onto people's, you know, and you can say, "No, that's all level of crazy. I genuinely don't want to be in like some kind of bizarre, weird show. So thank you, but no, I think I'll just stay at the wings, and I can view your stage, but I don't want to be on it." And knowing that your stage is yours and you can invite people in and ask people to leave at will. You're the director, you're the main bit, you're everything in this room is all of yours. So yeah. So you can, so as hard as it may be when you go into this room with all these really strong characters, know that your strength is just entirely different, and your strength is just being able to stay in your power, but you have that strength. And the minute we say, oh yes, the power is yours, the minute we allow somebody to laugh at us and they can see it affecting us, that's the power going. So it's a case of saying, well, and again, something I say in my head a lot, and I had to repeat have it in my head, is your opinion is none of my business. And your opinion is based entirely on your perspective of the world. So when someone has an opinion, say like, well, I was saying I was writing my book, and they're saying, what on earth would you write about? I was like, well, I'm pre-selling my book, so you'll be able to find out. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't need to tell you what, but if you don't know who I am, then you know I'll let you buy my book. But it's like the what was that? Yeah. So their opinion of you and their behavior towards you is coming from all of their beliefs and all of their self-limiting behavior, and everything that they doubt in themselves is why they're insulting you. So if you're challenging them because it's something they are challenged in themselves. Yeah. Does that make sense? So however you are being, if it challenges somebody, it's because they can't deal with that. They can't deal with that in themselves. And then honestly, and in all of them, the more happy you become in your own self, the more people are challenged by you. But it becomes like, oh wow, okay, that's really interesting. You know, and I've had people just out of nowhere just start slagging me off on Facebook. I'm like, wow, okay, that's really interesting that would get you upset. Okay. And I've apologized and stuff. I don't take ownership. I say, I'm really sorry that my actions have provoked you to feel that way. Would you like me to help you? Fuck off. Okay. No, then. Okay, cool. Because whatever I am provokes that, or whatever I mean to that person, but it's got nothing to do with me. And you know, we said it last week as well, when someone treats you in a certain way, it really has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And even the trouble is, when it's a family member or a parent, a child, a brother, a sister, a close family member, you're like, well, it must be me. Because why wouldn't they pick on someone else? And the reason they pick on you is because you're easy, because you are empathic, and because your heart is so good, and that really does piss them right off. in all honesty, it really winds them up. How can you be so, and the purer you are and the kinder you are and the more love you have, it really grinds people shit if they're not like that. It really does. And I have a few clients who literally are just so like, whoa, they just attract so much, yeah, they literally under the weight of all like people's negativity, because they are just such lovely people, but they just take it all on. Oh my goodness, they think that of me, that means it must be true. And then they start not doing things. So you might find that and they think, well, actually, who are these other people? Who are they? Do you really, if I said to you, okay, well, my uncle, I don't really like him very much. I don't really like his values or what he stands for. But every time I go around, he's just a bit mean to me. Like, well, why are you taking any note of somebody you don't even like? Whether, they are just another person, but because they have this family connection, it's almost like, well, they know me. Therefore, the fact that they don't like me is like, oh, must make me bad. And the thing is, they know you, and that's why they're doing it. They know you because they are not like you. They can't be like you. And there's something about you they wish they could be more like. And so it triggers them. And, so it's getting that into your head every time somebody says something or undermines you. It's just, if you just look at it, oh my gosh, that's how they feel about it. It's literally a window into their soul. That's how they feel about themselves. Literally, it's really, when you just, and you don't have to flip, you have to tell them this is what's going on, because they probably won't. But if people go, oh, what are you driving that car for? Oh my goodness, do they wish that they could do that? Do they wish that they had that? Oh, okay, that's interesting. Or why, that's really shit music. Do you just wish you could play music? You just think all of a sudden, is that what it is? Because why else would they be so challenged by you, what you're doing, if it's not because they want to do it themselves, but they just can't for whatever reason? And yeah, when you're faced with these relationships that you feel you have to have. I mean, just so you know, I've got, and some of you might have seen me with my still current husband, but you might have seen me with him, and you would never know that a year ago there was social workers, there was a police around the house, there was like orders where he wasn't allowed to see me, or that he had to keep away from. You would never know now, a year later, that, and this is not me, having a go at him. There's always, but he did things that were really, really shit, and I had to protect my family. And a year later, yeah, we meet up, we go out, we go out for drinks together, we go for coffee, because the power has gone. There is absolutely nothing that he can do to have any hold over me. And it's so powerful that I can actually have a relationship, as in a friendship, with an ex-husband who was utterly narcissistic and used everything I did to improve myself as a reason it was destroying him. I mean, you think, how can you? I mean, I literally, I'd see him and I'd do this. And like some of my friends go, how can you even talk to him? I think, because I have to. He has to be in my life. So why don't I just make it okay? And so when he comes and he starts something, I go, all right, yeah. Oh, okay, sure, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, yeah. You want? Yeah, I'm going to feed the kids chocolate for breakfast. Cool. All right, good luck with that. All right, cool. I am just, you can't stop me taking the kids. I said, no. When do you want to do that then? You can't, I'm not going to, I don't have to pay you anything. Okay, I'm at my own money anyway. Do you see what I mean? All of a sudden, it's not me backing down. I'm just saying, that's okay. You need to do that. That's okay. It's just being okay with it. And when that's gone, there really isn't much left. And so they can either, occasionally when he thinks everything's all right again, it'll start again. But that's what they do. But knowing that you have the power, and every time you flex that muscle of, no, this is mine. You don't get to, if you want to behave badly, then just leave that over there. But this is my space, and you're not going to get a rise out of me, because the minute you rise up to meet them, the power struggle's on, and the likelihood is they'll go further than you, because that's their job and that's what they want out of life, and how they get there. I mean, there's a great kids book called the Bucket, How to Fill a Bucket. It's a really good book for kids. It's like, by being nice to people, you fill their bucket and your bucket. By being mean to people, you empty your bucket and their bucket. You can't steal from someone else's bucket. But a lot of people haven't got that. So if you steal from someone else's bucket, you empty theirs, but you also empty your bucket. So by trying to get someone else's happiness away from them, you make yourself sad. And it's very like that's a kid's book. So it's quite a good way of understanding bucket filling. I think it gets a bit of a head fuck, to be honest, but you get the drift about bucket filling and not bucket filling and dipping, and I don't know, but the kids get it, I'm not sure. But basically, when they realize that by coming at you to get your energy, you've got to think of you, if you're quite happy and they're not, they're going to want a piece of that. So and either one of two things happens for them: either they get it, or both of you are miserable, and that's better. Yeah. So don't give them the power. It will always come down to, there's a reason why you're doing it. There'll always be, and I say, like I said, this thing that I'm not selling this course, this program, I'm not, right? But we go into it deeper in that. So the best way I know, and I've had like everything from electric shock therapy, I know, to like psychotherapy, to REM sleep therapy, to every therapy in the world. And the best one that got to it all was EFT. That's why I trained in it. It's the one that cuts through the crap and does it all. So I can teach you how to do that. It's really quite simple. And you learn your stories, and you learn why do you give that away? Why is it that it matters so much what other people think? Why is that? And when you start asking yourself, why? When did I first do that? You're kind of asking out there. You're not don't try and answer it in your own head. Like, don't try and say, oh, when was that? When do I think that was? Don't get your thoughts away. Just go, so why what does it matter? What will happen if people don't like me? What if everyone in my circle thought badly of me? What if all these people that are so important to me, what if they all fought back? What would happen? Play it out. What would happen if all these people who you're so worried about, who have all this power, what would happen if they didn't like you, or they didn't care about you? Or, what would happen if, they just didn't like you? Would it be that bad? In all honesty, imagine that. Imagine all these people who you don't particularly like being in the same room as, and they didn't like you. I'm not belittling it at all. I'm just trying to say, sometimes it's like, oh yeah, like, would it matter if? So like, how many, I know that I go into rooms with my family, and because now I don't give the energy, I don't think they like me that much. But like, okay, I don't know, it's a lot easier than not liking me. And I don't really I'm not fussed either way now, because it is family. And if they're not close relatives and they're not people that matter to you, they're just, the majority of time, when we say, we worry what people think, I want to know who. Are you giving like that dude out in the street with the dodgy shorts and the crop top and, wearing it, are you giving him power to tell you you can't go out like that? Because I don't even know him. Who are you giving this power to? Because often, although or we feel like this with this family member, who else are we giving it to? What else are we not doing? Because somebody in the street that we have never met yet might think badly of us. You think, gosh, because that's what it boils down to, isn't it? Who are these other people? And these other people that we've never met yet, that we don't even know their belief systems, we're now not going to do something because of somebody we haven't met, who's had a life that we can't even quantify. And all of a sudden, so I'm not doing something because of something. And you think, gosh, just walk out in the street and be you and dance in the street. And sometimes it takes that, by the way, is to put your headphones in and dance and just say hi to everybody in the street. And I know, like, it's nuts. Dancing, that might be the next level up. But saying hi to everybody, especially now, like when everyone's like terrified of everything, saying hi doesn't half make people feel good. Your ex-wife never gave a shit about other development. Yeah. So hang on, so she never gave a shit in any other environment, but that kind of, what do you mean by that? I don't understand, Phil. Sorry, that might be the way I'm reading it. Like nervously type now. You never. And I know. Right, what? So because you didn't care, she had a problem with it. I can't hear you. Do you want to just talk to me? Talk to me. There's a song, isn't there?
Yeah, it'd be easier to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was trying to say there was everything you've been talking about, the way people give off their negative energy to put, because of they don't like themselves. What they're criticising you about is what they don't like about themselves. That was her all over. And I've not ever had a problem about not giving a shit, but I did in that environment with the ex-wife, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So probably because I cared too much, and I let her have that power over us.
Yeah.
Whereas in any other environment, work-wise, I don't care. I've never cared in the street. You know, I've quite happily danced naked in the street, not a problem. But in the environment, in the
that's a whole other conversation, Phil.
But in that environment with the ex-wife, it was like that was always condescending. It was always put downs, always this, that, and the other. And I think it was probably because, thinking back, listening to what you're saying, a lot of it was because maybe I didn't give a shit about certain things, and that pissed her off, and she, you know, I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know. I mean, I was quite happy to do my thing, do things my way, do things for us, do things for the kids in the way that I felt right. And if it didn't suit her, I didn't really care, to be fair. And I think that probably pissed her off enough for her to, you know. So yeah, maybe like one of the other ladies has just said, maybe it is being a bit selfish, but you've got to be selfish to be honest with yourself, haven't you? It's not being selfish, it's being honest with yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
like
I don't know.
I think you've got a point there though. Let's mute you for now. We can unmute and stuff. But yeah, like why is selfish, or why is selfish become such a horrible word? Like, oh my goodness, you're so selfish and mean, and how dare you put yourself first, you evil, conniving, horrible person. You're like, really? I'm sure, like when I go on an aeroplane, if I've ever gone on one again, when I last went on an aeroplane, they told me to put my oxygen mask on first. I'm pretty sure that in order to help anyone else, I needed to, you just think, well, actually, in a life and death situation, you have to care for yourself first. But you know what? This is life and death. You're living, right? And to continue living, you have to put your oxygen mask on first. And that's the end of it. And yet we can empathize with other people. And we can say, do you know, I know myself, I've been on the other side of it, hating other people and feeling really like, how dare they? And when you start analyzing it, and because there's both sides to this coin, right? There is the other side of actually, you criticize people, blaming people. When you're under criticizing and you're blaming and you're getting sick all the time, it's because you are you're looking for blame in everybody else. Do you know what? I'm sad, some other fucker's going to pay for this. And that's where you're at. You are angry with the world because you haven't looked after yourself. You haven't done what you need to do. So actually you do. So I mean, when I was going down I've been in a downward spiral. I'm sure a lot of people here have been in a downward spiral, and you are literally like, how dare you treat me like this? How dare you do that? How dare you be happy? Can you not see I am suffering here? And you are going out there, living your life, being selfish, being happy. How, like, look at you, you literally like, look at me, help me. But you're not saying, look at me, help me. You're saying, I hate you, you're being horrible. And when you're on the other side of it, it feels desperate. And you are sometimes, if you're naturally a good person, you don't mean to be, but actually you're looking at people being happy is so goddamn frustrating because you're not doing it. And the only way you can do that is to actually go, do you know what? I need to do something for me. Because the amount of people who are so cross with the world and angry, and I see it a lot because people come to me because everyone's being mean to them. And why won't people just do what they want to do? Why won't their kids behave? Why won't their wife just be nice? They're blaming the world. And I said, well, do you know, what do you want? They go, what? I said, what do you want? What do you actually want? And well, like, come on then, you know, because that has to be the start. Surely if everything is wrong, surely you've got to have something that you want. And yeah, there's like in marriages and different relationships, yeah, there's an element of empathy, but there people have to take responsibility for themselves. And when you learn, and also it's really powerful when you learn that actually this is my stuff. And when you realize that, what's yours and what isn't. So everything that you can control, I said this last time, so but it is just so key to the everything is your actions, your reactions, your thoughts and your feelings, and they're all yours. Any of them, that's yours. No one can affect that unless you give them the power to. Equally, it's the same for someone else. So their reactions, their actions, their thoughts and their feelings are all theirs, and you cannot affect them unless they give you power. And once it's really quite simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. So anything that's yours, 100% yours. Yeah. Any of those things that you cannot affect, that's not your concern. So yeah, theoretically you can say what the hell you like. It's up to them how they take it. Yeah, it is. You know, do you want to trigger people all the time? You know, that's a choice, but ultimately and you get to choose how do you take someone else as well. So if someone like, you know, you were saying Alex and Jules and Polly, quite similar with family, they're being all okay, so to let them, like, okay, so they're having their big old tough beating from a chest. Gee, sounds like, well, okay, we'll crack on, because that sounds amazing, you know. Or okay, so your brother wants to insult you. Okay, wow, crikey, really, still, you know. And it's like, well, you know, do that then, you know, hammer it all. I mean, a friend of mine was going through a really tough time. He knows what I do, so just started attacking me. And I said, right, you can keep doing this. I won't block you. I'm not going to stop you, but it's not hurting me. I'm only replying so that you can maybe just stop for your own benefit, because every time you hurt me, you're just hurting yourself more. So just stop and have a think. So carried on for another 3 days, just like sending me, oh, you should help me, you should do this, you know better than I mean, it's like, this is a friend of mine for 10 years, just literally going down the rabbit hole, spiraling down and downward. And then a week later says, oh God, I'm really sorry. I said, well, our friendship has to just curb it for a while. I can't do that right now. I love you to bits, but that is not my position in your life. And now therapy, and that's fine, but you know, you should help me. I said, I can't help you, this is not my job, you know, it is my job, you know. But he was so angry that I wouldn't help. I was like, you know, that there's, you know, because it's someone else to blame. And generally, if they're shouting at you, they really are, I can't tell you enough, they are really angry and hurting for themselves. And I'm not saying that to give anybody empathy, but it's to understand that it's not to do with you. You are just merely the product at which they can be angry at. You're merely, okay, so have you ever, like, I'm not saying I have, maybe I have, but have you ever smashed a plate? Have you ever smashed anything? Right? Have you ever thrown anything? No, okay, just me then. It's really good. Have you ever ever got angry in the moment at an inanimate object? Yeah. Did it matter what it was? Did you go, hang on a sec, I'm just going to pick the priceless thing, or I'm just going to make sure it's a cheap, nasty, you know, Tesco plate, or I'm just going to make sure I don't hit the wall that's got the perfect picture. You don't worry about what you're getting angry at, the inanimate object. I mean, I tend to, if I do anything, it's like, oh. And when I was pregnant with Max, I mean, God, I was testosterone crazy. I smashed a lot of things, and it never mattered what it was. But to me, that was quite, it doesn't matter who's getting this. They're needing to do it, and you are a really easy target. You're going to smash well, right? You'd pick kind of really cheap glass over Tefl glass, you know, because you know it's going to shatter, you know. But not that you're picking it, but you are just the object at which they can direct everything, and you could be anybody. And that's just giving you this, say, do you know what? I could be anybody. They are doing this to somebody, and the reason it's you, that's theirs. That's something that I don't even know they'll be able to answer. They could say, yes, because you do this and you do that, but you know, that's just what they don't like about you. You could be anybody, and you are just a really great vessel in which, and you take it on as well. And a lot of other people probably don't. So because you are there, and because you keep going back, and because you absorb it, for them, they probably feel millions times better after you've been. I bet you they feel bloody marvelous. Oh, that was great. You must come again. You're like, you're all right. You need to have some kind of, detox after that. There's ways in which you can do it. I mean, some people, I'm a Reiki master, so how I was taught in Reiki is to sort of create this lovely kind of shell around yourself and sort of bounce it back. But ultimately, just know that you're a mirror, and you're probably doing it for a lot of people. But how to, so the first thing is to know when you're going into these situations that it's yours to give. Your response is yours. Your emotions and the way that you wish to feel about something is all yours. And if you are, it's really hard because it sounds like it's making light of it, but when you realize that the way that you're feeling about a situation you're entering into is your choice. Although it might feel like, well, it isn't because they're mean to me. Okay, they're mean to you, towards you. Are you going to let that ruin your day? I suppose this is what I teach people all the time. It's so much easier, weirdly, to teach kids because they just say, oh, okay, that's a good idea. That makes sense. Off they go and don't get affected anymore. I mean, if we'd all been taught this at 5, it'd be genius, wouldn't it? We'd never be affected. But it's the simple thing of that's a choice. You make a choice whether that is going to make you feel small, or are you going to say, oh, all right, and you're going to carry on and know that, and know that it's your choice to sit somewhere else and not be part of the circus. You're choosing not to go onto that stage when they're all there being loud and opinionated. You don't want to be on that stage. So your choice is to come to the side. You go and see your, discuss it with your dad. Your choice is to say, okay, I'm here to listen, but I'm not here to take on. So you want to shout at somebody, and you can say, do you know what? I need a minute. And at any point you can say, I need a minute. This is right now, I don't want to hear this. So I need a minute. And if they go, you can't walk out, you go, okay, I need a minute. You don't need permission from anyone to do anything. You genuinely don't need permission, because a lot of people feel, can I really do that? Like, yeah, you can do whatever you want, but you don't need permission from me or from the person who's shouting at you. You don't need permission from anyone. You can say, that is, just right now. And you don't need to go, I've had enough of this, I'm leaving. You go, I just need a minute. At any point, just I need a minute. And you just go, and you have a minute. You go, whew, okay, I need to take a breath. Is this mine? Grounding, tap, tap, tap through it. And on your bit of paper, you can even be writing, where's this happened before? When have I felt this before? So you can either write notes as to what they're saying to you or what they're saying. You can actually even think, gosh, I'm really being triggered. How does it feel? And you can start writing how it feels to be triggered, to feel like you're small. When did I feel small? Was it when I was 2 and someone told me to sit in the corner? Do I feel like I'm being told to sit in the corner right now? Is that just what I do? Is that just how compliant I've become? Am I just here as that person? So make the choice how you want to be in this relationship. Do you care enough to stand your ground and say no more? Is that what you want? Or do you not care enough and go, this isn't worth it to me, so I'm going to, whatever I do, it's going to be a choice that I make, not something that's being forced upon me. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, cool. A really great book. I know I keep telling you books to read. A really good book. It was, one of the best ones that really, I found it challenged me quite a lot, was The Courage to Be Disliked. It's like it really spoke to me because it was like, everything. If you look at every single thing, I mean, the reason I like to focus on what I help people is heal their relationships, which is what I do. But relationships are everything. So an interpersonal relationship, right, is anything that you have with anything else. That's it. So although when people traditionally think of relationships, they think, oh, my relationship with, my loved one, my partner, my, a person. But an interpersonal relationship is something that you have any connection with, be it the universe, be it your dog, be it food, be it your own body, anything, if we didn't have interpersonal relationships, right, we'd never have any problems. So the root of all problems is interpersonal relationships. Yeah. So that's why I say I like healing relationships, because everything is in a relationship. So if we didn't have any, we would be fine. If we never had to connect with anything, we'd be absolutely fine. Nothing would be wrong. I'm not saying it would be right, but nothing would be wrong. There we go. That one there, that's it. Now it's you either love the way it's written or you won't. It's written as a conversation. So you either love it or you don't. It took me a while to get into it, but it's fascinating. And that really does go into the interpersonal relationship side of it. And so much as, that to the point where if you get angry with somebody, you've made the choice and you've actually created a situation to get angry. He gives a really great, so when somebody comes, say a waiter, and it wouldn't happen nowadays, can't get close enough, but back in the days when we had waiters who came close to us, if they spilt something on you, you'd be like, oi, you spilt it on me. Or you'd be like, oh, don't worry, mate, it's all right. Geez, you're all right. You're having a rough day. How we react to somebody is entirely how we're feeling on the inside. And we're just, if we're angry and we want to lash out, okay, we're just waiting for somebody to fuck up. Waiting for somebody to do something that pisses us off enough that we can go, oi. So if you think about the people who shout at you and the people who blame you, they're just waiting for somebody to do something that riles them. And if they see it as a trigger, boom, they'll go at you. So, so it's their interpersonal relationship with themselves and their own ego. Because ego, and people get ego quite wrong. Ego is just how much we care about what other people think of us. When I first started doing therapy with people, the first thing I had to do was not have any attachment to what they would think of me at the end. Have I done a good enough job? Literally, you have to just think, well, you're there, you're holding space. The job that has to be done will be done. Whether or not they like me at the end is kind of irrelevant. It's so when you kind of get yourself out of it and just, but that's going down a whole nother route. But when we kind of realize that our ego is a whole nother section of ourselves, it's a relationship we have with ourselves, then we can see how we can allow ourselves to be triggered by it. And if so, you're there with these people who are triggering this in you. Not only are you you're triggering them, because otherwise they wouldn't be saying things to you, but you are allowing them to trigger you. So what have you not dealt with? So if they're undermining you and being mean to you, prime example, whenever I talk to my sister about anything vaguely intellectual, I start not being able to say anything. She rolls her eyes and I feel about 12. So I'm turning 40 this year. I was genuinely excited that I could be a grown-up, and people don't get that, but I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe now my sister will see me as a real grown-up, and it was a real, so I allow that, but I allow her. She hates it. She's got 2 degrees and a master's. I lied about a degree to get a job. I mean, it really fucks her right off. I literally trigger the pants off my sister all the time. But she's triggered by me, because how dare she be successful and be happy after my miserable childhood? So it's the dual triggering. And when it comes to sisters and brothers, there's this dual trigger. So at some point I go, all right, okay. And I even went up to my sisters and said, you know what? Thank you for always being supportive. Because what I wanted to have was a supportive sister who loved me. So I thanked her for being exactly what I wanted, even though she wasn't. And boom, she hasn't spoken to me since. But not negatively. I just think she doesn't know what to do with that. I think that's really thrown her. And I didn't do it for that. I thought, what I want to see is a sister who just loves me and supports me for who I am. But the more like she has to see me on, and I've got more visual on like Facebook and emails and different platforms. So she's seeing me. She's even unsubscribed from my emails and stuff like that. It really triggers her. And you know, I think that's not who, that doesn't define me anymore. So it's like, okay, I get that, but that's her. Yeah, she's really struggling with that. I can't change that. I can't help her with that. But I can continue to be me, and I can continue to thrive, even though it's triggering the hell out of her. But I can't make her deal with her shit, even though her shit is all about me. I dealt with mine about her, and it didn't take her to have any involvement. And I love her, and she is a wonderful human being. She's absolutely gorgeous human being. She just cannot stand me. So, but she is lovely. No, like she genuinely, I just trigger the hell out of her. I mean, we had a really tricky growing up time, and so my poor mom, I try not to talk about it in front of my mom because she's so it's when it's family, it is you are being triggered by them. So the fact that you're even thinking, oh, I'll just stick it in the corner. Okay, why is that? What does that bring up in you? What memories have you got? And this is now about memory retrieval. So what memories, won't be much longer, don't worry, they're going to ask me lots of questions. So it's, when did I last feel like this? People who've done any sort of EFT with me will know, but when did I last feel like this? What made me want to give my power away? And it's asking big questions like that. What made me want to give that away? And not judging yourself, but like without judgment, ask yourself those questions without judging the answer. So yeah, okay, you might give, there's nothing bad about giving power away. People do it all the time. And actually, in some senses, we've been conditioned to doing that in school. Finish off your plate. I don't want to. I don't care. Do it anyway. Force something into your mouth because that's what I've told you to do because I'm bigger than you. So if you look at it, you know, we've kind of been conditioned to doing something, you know, our whole lives has been people telling us because they're bigger than us, and then we're told not to let bigger people, so the whole thing's very confusing. So you know, so take yourself back to that moment and be okay with that, and kind of forgive the moment and forgive the fact that maybe you've been living as a 6-year-old who was scared to speak up, or forgive yourself for that moment, because you know it's valid. But it's really, really interesting when you ask without judgment, why do I give my power away? Why do I allow that to happen? Because when you ask it from that, no, why do they do that to me? You're never going to get the answer. You're not, because it's not yours. Why do I let them have this over me? What about this? Why am I allowing myself to be controlled like this? Because then you've got the answer. Because then it's yours, and then it's within your realm of quantum fields that you can actually get the answer. So ask the question from the power of you rather than the power of somebody else. Because we're saying, why do you treat me so badly? Or why do you allow yourself to get treated badly? Do you see what I mean? Begging someone for an answer is never going to, that's just power giving. Why am I allowing somebody to treat me like this? But it has to be without judgment and blame of yourself. Oh yeah, because I'm a stupid idiot and I'm still here letting somebody beat me up every day. No, that's not the answer, right? So if you're physically being hurt, it's not about why do I let myself, it says what about this situation do I need to thrive? What about being kept at heel? What about this do I need in order to be who I am? Am I, you know, are you scared of being alone? Are you scared of losing that person? Even though that person is toxic, what would it be like without them? I know I need them. Why do I think I need them? You see all those questions, but if you ask yourself these really hard questions, but without, like you would ask your friend without judgment, ask yourself without judgment. And that's the key to really stopping it happening, is to find out where it all comes from without judgment. But and the one last thing was that there is a lot of competition. I'll get that. Okay, cool. Emily just left, that's fine. When we think of, a lot of people say compare. I'm just going to quickly touch on it, but comparing ourselves to other people. Someone else is either doing better than us, thinner than us, prettier than us, younger than us, older than us, nicer TV than us, better house, more money. There's always a reason to compare ourselves. But if we realize that actually if we always gone about, oh, you're unique, you are you, the only one of you, well, then that would mean that there is no way to compare anyone. So I just leave you with that, because I found it really interesting. And that when you realize that you cannot make a comparison with two things that are completely different, because you'll know if you've ever had two kids that are entirely different, like I don't know, like one runs and one's an artist. I don't know, how do you compare that? It's like comparing a 100-meter sprinter to an artist. How do you compare which is better? So that's like you comparing yourself with anyone else in the world, because every single one of us has something utterly unique, and we all have at least one utterly unique gift to give the world. And when we realize what that gift is, and that, it might be more than one, but there's always something that is truly at the essence of who we are, and that's unique to us, what we can give and how we give it and things like that. But when you ever start to say, well, that person I was at school at who did the same qualifications as me, they're doing this now, remember that they are entirely unique, that they're doing that because that's their journey, and you're not the same. How can you even think to be the same? Would you really want all their life? So it was just something that I thought I should share, because we compare ourselves a lot, especially at the moment when it's lots of Zoom and there's lots of, how come they're coping with lockdown and I'm a mess? How come they're doing that and I'm not doing that? How come they can cope? How come they're happy and I want to die? It's really, you think, well, just remember that there's no one person that's the same. Okay, cool. I just thought I would put that out there. Right. Yes, that is the one, Julie. Yeah. Right. I'm going to, what I'll do is, does anybody mind? I mean, this will be on the Facebook group that we're in. If I unmute you, does anybody not want to be unmuted or not? Do you not want to be seen on the Facebook group? You don't want to be seen. It's not the big, it's just that if you don't want to be seen, that's totally cool. I don't
mind. I was trying to say I don't mind, but I didn't unmute.
That's fine. If you don't, I can stop. Would you rather do that if you'd rather I stop the recording now for any questions? Would rather I stopped? Not bothered. Okay, cool. Okay, right. Okay, so do you want to unmute you and we have a little chit? There's only 6 of us, which is pretty cool. I feel really I don't expect to talk for so long. I always say that, don't I? Right, I'm trying to unmute everybody. Why can't I do it? I do this every day and I know I can't do it. Hang on. Can you unmute yourselves? Pressing the wrong thing. There we go. Well done. Awesome. Has anybody got anything they want to share, or anything that oh, okay, or has anything clicked with them, or do you want to ask anything else, or anything at all?
Yeah, I think for me, quite a lot of what you've brought up, and that ending on comparing yourself, has been what I've been getting coming in as my own inner guidance to move through this situation I'm in. So I've made quite a lot of notes about stuff, which I feel will really help me the next time I have a conversation with my brother.
Cool. Okay. All right.
Especially about this, I need to take a break, and I'm definitely where I don't choose to have conversations like this with him anymore. So maybe feeding into how I can word that differently to let him know this ends now, or we just stop talking. Because when I was estranged from him, my life felt so much better, and it's really only been because of Dad that I got back in touch.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of Dad situation that's keeping me keep going back into this painful stuff, and I'm getting stronger.
Yeah.
But I've had enough.
Yeah.
It's like, don't want to talk. Like, if you can't talk to me in a different way,
then we're done. Yeah. Anybody else got any questions or anything that's helped them, or anybody else got any questions about anything? No. Cool. I'm going to tell you what I was saying at the beginning as well, that I'm doing one more I'm doing workshops every month, actually, twice a month. I'm doing another one next week, because it's come up and it's become, everyone's talking about it, this toxic positivity. I'm doing that next week, which is like a big, like another one that's close to my heart, God's sake, honestly. But what the week after that is going to be starting the what Julie mentioned at the beginning, my like sales rep accident. That I'm going to be doing this. It's Life by Design, so it's basically touching on a lot of the subjects but deeper in. We really do delve with 6 weeks, and I go into all your stories. So we work out where your stories are coming from. I teach you how to tap, just not only for you, but I kind of put you with somebody if you want to as well. Nothing's forced, but you kind of teach you how to get to all your stories, to why these things are happening. We'll talk about intentions, actually what you want to go through. And it's come up on a couple of people who, because anybody who signs up within the workshop, I give a free kind of intention setting session for this. So it's come up that actually I found that anything I've ever done, any courses I've ever done, right, I do them once and then I realize that more stuff comes up, so I just need to do it again on something else. So it's something that you can keep doing. I'll be doing it 3 times a year at least, and so you just come along and join every time, so that the thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's, yeah, so it's Life by Design. It's basically sorting out all the stuff that's bothering you and something, but working on one specific thing. I've done other courses before on back pain and weight, and this is actually kind of everything amalgamated to be able to do and if any relationship you have whatsoever with anything, it's designed to work through that, but it's all live. So all other courses I've done have been pre-recorded content mainly, and I wanted to do better. So I wanted to do it interactively as a group. So this is kind of, the universe has really spoken and said, right, this is what you're going to do then. This is how we're going to do it. And then I also give you a human design, which like personally was like one of the biggest light bulb moments. It gave me permission to be me and to actually follow what I really want to do. Then we figure out your mess and like we declutter everything. So decluttering, I hate decluttering because it's just like a minefield, but it's decluttering in every sense of the word. So it's decluttering all the stuff that isn't serving you in your head. So beliefs to, learning about your upper limits, actually, how much of a limit do you put on yourself for happiness? We discussed that last time, didn't we? But how much of a limit have we got? And we actually figure out what your limits are, and you actually write down what your limits are and who is to blame for those goddamn limits. We do that. And then we work on your enoughs as well, because there is always very rare, I wouldn't say always, but I haven't seen anybody yet who hasn't got a lacking in how much they're willing to have enough of, or how much they are, and are they enough? And it's learning how to be enough in the space you're in. So that's what that's about. So it's like a 6-week fully interactive thing that I'm doing. And it will be running again, and then everyone can do it again if they want to, but it'll still be live, and it'll be evolving. So it's the first time I've done it. I'm like doing it pretty low cost. Well, I think pretty low cost for the time involved in it, because it's the first time I'm running it. And it will take feedback from you guys for me to get it even better for next time and then the next time. But yeah, so all these things are big passions for me. But I'm also running free workshops twice a month. So very good value for money. Thank you, Julie. Honestly, right? Julie has not been prepped. I didn't get on the phone to Julie, right, Jules? You're on. No, and you've got a pretty little notebook. So it's very, you just want to get started. I know you want to get started. You got yours as well. Oh, you got your book. Yeah.
It came through last night, so brilliant. Thank you.
Oh, bless. Yeah. So I do send little presents to people every so often, because it makes me feel good. why I don't, yeah, so that's cool. So you are more than welcome to join in. Won't be starting the week on. Let me just double check. Again, this is not a massive sales pitch. I know it might sound it now. Let me just, what I'll do is I'll put the link here, because I forgot to put, that's how much I'm trying to sell it, as I forgot to put the link in last time. So let me just pages. I'll quickly put the link in. If you want it, it's there. There. Okay, where are we? Oh, I can't get back on Zoom now. There we go. There you go. Right, there you go. I'll put it in the chat. There it is there. It's slightly more refined than last time, but really not very much. I've just taken away my really cheesy video because that was really bad. So there you go. If you wanted to join us for that, that'd be really cool. But it will be coming up again, and that's great. And I am also doing workshops like this. Some of them will be shorter, some of them won't be, but I'll always be doing free workshops, because I think at the moment we all need a space to be able to get some stuff, to start working on ourselves without actually going really deep. I think we sometimes just need a bit of a nudge and stuff we can do. But yeah, so next Wednesday, does anybody know what toxic positivity is, other than that they hate memes? It's when you see all these really positive memes that really grind your shit, and you're like, right, I don't feel like that, so stop telling me I should feel happy, when actually I want to punch someone in the face. And it's telling you, don't punch someone in the face because life's great. You're like, you don't know my life, shut up. And actually, when you feel really rubbish and you feel really bad, the last thing you need to do is to be told that you need to feel good, and to just put a smile on it. And the worst phrase in the world is fake it till you make it. I'm like, oh my goodness, don't do that. That's really toxic. So it's a case, but that was a lot more tapping. So if you like tapping and you want to really know what tapping is, and it's not just, tapping is like amazing. But if you have followed some tapping people, if you've ever seen tapping, a lot of the moment is very, I'm amazing, I'm abundant, my energy is full, and I'm great, and I'm fit. And they're not all American, by the way. I'm just using a really dodgy American accent. And they tap through, and you tap in these beautiful, wonderful affirmations. The problem is that if you don't believe it, or you've got a load of stuff in there you haven't cleared, it just washes off when you stop. So I teach you how to tap into the negative. But so it's getting away from that need to be positive all the time, which it's just exhausting if you just don't feel it, and it's really bad for you. It's really, really bad for your mental health and your emotional well-being. And I put up a thing a while ago about, it's like having mold on a wall and then just thinking it's a nice color and just painting over it. Whereas you have to actually say, do you know what, that's mold. And actually it's this variety of mold. And to get rid of this variety of mold, I need this particular cleaner. So I'm going to get that cleaner. I'm going to scrape that mold off. I'm going to say, thank you very much, mold. I'm going to put you in the bin, and then I'm going to paint over. That's kind of what EFT, tapping into the negative, does. It gets rid of the mold. So that's what I'm doing next week, but it's free again next Wednesday at 8. But yeah, so if you want to do that, let me know. That's cool too. But yeah, so anybody got any questions or anything they want to add to anything at all? I'm going to stop the recording now. She's going to say it now. Hang on. Where is it? Cancel. Yes, I want to stop the recording.